Before we begin, thank you very much to... Now concentrate this time, Grimlock. This is Small Convoy, but that is Far Away Convoy. For pitching in over on Ko-fi. I feel like there's a whole batch of people who have been just using this like convoy run to get me to say whatever line they want, and they'll just say like the what they want read instead of like me shouting out a name. And that's not the idea. The idea is not to pay me to say whatever line you want. The idea is to shout out the person nice enough to support the channel, which, okay, I guess people used it to make me say whatever they wanted anyway. That's always how it's worked, but I feel like the spirit's been lost here, you know? I should be shouting out name and message. But regardless, thank you very much for the support. Thank you very much for helping out with the channel. I always appreciate it. I just dropped $1,600 on car repairs. I very much appreciate this. So let us continue. Since I have a few more things that need to be paid off, let us continue with the usual work around here. We're going to be doing a tier list today. So we've talked about Universe 1.0 before, but we've never actually gone in and given a hard look at some of these. So that is what we are doing today. This is a tier list of all of the Transformers Universe 1.0 repaints because it is a line specifically known for its massive amount of repaints. Now, we're going to play this as fair as possible. I don't care about the actual toy quality here. The whole point of this list is going to be about just how good is the repaint itself. That's all we are really judging today. It is just what's the quality of the repaint. We are also not going to be doing minicons or spy changers today, or else we would be here literally all day. Instead, we're going to focus on basic class and above, which still covers a lot. So let us get into this right now, and we're going to be starting with Air Raid, one of the Cyberjet retools, repaints rather. And this one is really, really nice. I like how the two shades of red play off of the blue. The maroon is doing a lot of lifting to get that dark blue to connect to that red in a way that I think really, really works. So Air Raid immediately goes all the way up to premium price, and that's a pretty good start, I find. And that moves into Black Arachnia. Black Arachnia is a pretty good departure from her Color and Beast machines. I think this is a little bit more unified color scheme. And it's one of those that has the Energon, like, blast paint job across it. And it kind of works across, like, a spider abdomen. And I think, again, she does look really, really good. Again, I'm going to put her premium price. Let's go. How about Blast Charge? So, on paper, I do like this. I do actually, funny enough, I don't mind this Blast Charge. The purple works. The purple works for me a lot. And like the multiple shades going, and like the black and the white camo, I like that too. I mean, it's Blast Charge. But the deco is solid. The deco looks really, really nice. I feel like I'm being too nice to this toy line at this moment. It turns out, like you're going to see, there's going to be a very wide gulf between what's a really good repaint in this line and what's a really bad repaint in this line. Okay, so let's talk about Night/Cheetor for a second, shall we? I love this repaint. Now, keep in mind, the original Night/Cheetor was originally released in black and silver with like hits of translucent orange. It was very different of a look for Cheetor, and it was weird because during the run of Beast Machines, they never really did a normal color. So here is Cheetor in this like lovely kind of like mustard yellow. It's like a darker shade of yellow. We have translucent red in there that looks good off of it, some metallic blue. What really makes this is instead of standard cheetah spots, it's circuit patterns. its circuit patterns, like exposed circuit boards and circuitry across the surface of Cheetor. It's a really cool look. It is a really, really cool look. I think elevates that toy tremendously from its first release. I have no problem putting it all the way to the top at Holy Grail. Good job. Now, here's where we start getting into the other side of Universe 1.0. There is either drastic departures from the original toy, or there is lazy slop. So, Crystal Widow is lazy slop. It is the same deco as Black Arachnia. I want to say even the Energon pattern on her is the same. The only difference is she gets an Autobot crystal instead of a Decepticon, and she has switched her orangish yellow plastic for reddish orange. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad per se, but yeah, it's extremely lazy. That's a really cool mold with a lot of really cool potential as far as repainting goes, and they never really did it. How hard would it have been to just paint her like a Black Widow spider? Just like black and red. Completely confuses me. Completely confuses me. So I could have listed all 4 of the RID Repaint Constructicons in this list. Instead, we are going to be going for just Devastator, because basically they all fall into that exact same category of it's a construction vehicle, but in green and purple now. And I will admit, it doesn't wear it badly. So like I have to give it I'll put it in retail release because it's just kind of a given to redo the construction vehicles in Constructicon colors, but it doesn't look bad either. So while it's not inspired, it does look good. And speaking of uninspired, so this is Energon Downshift redone in the Universe line, which is basically just a modification of the original design. They went from beige plastic to yellow. And they just put a gigantic Autobot symbol on the vehicle mode. It is not great. I mean, it still looks good, but it's just mostly the Energon paint job again. And the changes that they made, I don't think are good. The yellow is weirdly bright on this toy that's already bright white. And the Autobot symbol being so huge, like gigantic faction symbols very rarely look good. I'm going to flea market him. Like, overall, he still looks fine, but, like, you're even less inspired than Crystal Widow. Like, at least Crystal Widow is going off of a altered color scheme, not her original from the first mold. That brings us to... okay, who we got now? I can never remember some of the names here. We're up to Fireflight now. So this is the Beast Machine's Spy Streak repaint. This is one of the weird ones where, like, the vehicle mode has such a different personality and attitude than the robot mode. The vehicle mode is white plastic with a lot of, like, really cool Energon detail going through it, and then the robot mode is dark blue and translucent red. Like, there's a little bit of a disconnect here, where I think the vehicle mode looks really, really cool. I think the robot mode might look a little bit too dark, and maybe like a little bit too off from what the vehicle mode was. And it's not bad, but it's not fantastic. I'm okay putting that like right around retail release. Now, Frostbite. Frostbite. I don't like the Jawbreaker mold. I think in robot mode especially, it's way too messy. But I don't know. This is such a cool color scheme. I'm judging it based solely on repaint. So I have to take the toy aspect out of it completely. It's just, how does it look? And we've got ice blue, we've got purple, we've got very cold colors going on here. Very Arctic camo, very Arctic deco. More so than the blast charge. I'm going to put Holy Grail because of the look. The look is peak. So I'm going to point out the blast charge Frostbite and Night Slash Cheetor, those were all same wave during like the very tail end of Universe, where they tried at the last minute to switch up the packaging to something that was a little bit more fresh and potentially more appealing. Unfortunately, that's as far as it went. They only had one run of toys with that brand new packaging, and then everything else, yeah, it's just kind of scraps after that. But no, it still looked good for what it was. All right. So this is Inferno. I know it looks like Red Alert because the deco is based on Red Alert, and it is using a Ferrari, so it is supposed to be Red Alert, or Lamborghini rather. But for whatever weird reason, this was named Inferno instead, probably to hold on to a trademark. So this is part of Hasbro's ill attempt to create a competitor for Machine Robo, because there was a threat of Machine Robo expanding into the US with its brand new toy line. So to stop that from happening, Hasbro produced Machine Robot Rescue, which was a wave of rescue-based figures in the Universe line. Really, it was just them trademarking a term to stop Bandai, and they just tacked it onto two toys that were already on the way out, Inferno being one of them. I mean, I'm gonna okay, so I guess based on the same premise of, you know, it's just a very obvious repaint. It looks good, but it's uninspired. I gotta put it retail release alongside Devastator. The most interesting thing about that toy is that it's not designed to be G1 Inferno or G1 Red Alert. It's designed to be Beast Wars Inferno, according to the fiction. Craziness. All right, moving on to Longhorn. This one is, again, this one's just odd. Like the blue and like the pale brown, the beige here, they're okay, but like there's nothing about this that's like I think is like a sensational paint job. I think it looks okay. I think it looks decent, but like I'm not inspired by it in any way, shape, or form. I would say, I don't know, maybe bottom of retail release. If anything, you know, hang on. I think right now I'm gonna put top of bargain bin, and I'll tell you why. It's because of that bright blue peeking through. Like the other colors, the dark blue, the beige, the maroon, all of that works. All that kind of works for its own thing, but it's that bright blue pushing itself through as the primary color from the beast mode. That is where it falls apart for me. Like, I know he needs a hit of some like primary color in there, some bright color in there, but it just feels off. Like, it's just like it's hitting too much. Like there's something about it that just doesn't work for me. Personal preference thing. So, you know, ignore me. Ignore me. Okay. This one we do not have to debate at all. Nemesis Prime immediately goes all the way to the top of Holy Grail. This is the mold that cemented the idea that Nemesis Prime is different from Scourge and that he uses like a bone white color rather than just like gray. It's a fantastic deco. Like what else? Like we've talked about this deco so many times. What more can I say about this? Looks absolutely fantastic. Like I love how like the bone color gives it this more like brutal, animalistic look to it. I love the blood on the tusks. We all love the blood on the tusks. We can't believe Hasbro put it on a children's toy. So yeah, Nemesis Prime is great. No argument here. Waiting for the new toy to get repainted into this guy. I just had this sudden fear that the same guy who screwed up Velocitron Scourge is going to get put in charge of the redeco on this and just do the normal Nemesis redeco again. Fingers crossed. Okay. So we need to talk about Oil Slick. Oil Slick being one of my most hated molds of all time, the Armada Sideswipe mold. I hate this thing with a passion. And the deco on this does not really do anything for me. This is one of those decos where they mostly just swapped the main plastic color and called it a day. Pretty much everything else about him, aside from like little details, like the yellow's a little bit darker, the visor paint is darker, but mostly you're just looking at like some of it feels like very much the same figure. And I go like, why didn't you change the yellow? Why didn't you change the gray? You know, and it doesn't help the figure. I don't think it looks great. I don't think it looks great. I'm going to put it down to flea market level. You might not think it deserves to be in flea market level, but give me a minute. We will get to it. I will show you why it deserves that. And we will move on from there. So, this is the Sam's Club Optimus Prime. And I know we all love Splendid, like Yellow Splendid Convoy now, because it's a female Optimus Prime. And she actually has some weird fiction attached to her thanks to Japan. But that said, when she came out, it was literally just a yellow Optimus Prime that you had to go to a weird store to get to. Like, it's the first time we ever had to have a membership just to go and buy a Transformer. I'm showing you this one because I want people to remember that while we now love this deco, and we really want HasLab to repaint that Optimus into this, I want people to remember that it's not just Yellow Splendid Convoy now. They really did not want this to divert too far from being Optimus Prime, so the base robot still had the exact same head and the exact same chrome on the chest, so it still looked very much Optimus. So I'm going to knock it a point for that, but I still think it looks good. It's an interesting take on an Optimus Prime. Maybe a little bit too bright for me. The hits of black in the super mode help, but yeah, I'm just going to knock it down to low end to premium as a result, just because they didn't go all the way. It's like 90% of the way new take on Optimus, and then they just kind of got scared to the last minute and kept the chest and kept the head. So we're on Overbite now, and technically Overbite is not really a repaint. It is like an underpainted version of one of the Beast Wars second Cyber Beasts, Hellscream specifically. And I shouldn't really include it because it really is just the American release, but it is technically a redeco. But that said, once again, it is a dull redeco because it just takes detail away from the original release. I think it's cool that they made it, but man, if you're going to go ahead and use the mold, you really should be doing something different with it, especially in the Universe 1.0 line, not just like shove it out there super cheap. Oh, speaking of shoving decos out super cheap, let's see who we got now. Oh, it's Prowl. Prowl is immediately going into the flea market tier. This is literally just RID Prowl with a giant Autobot symbol on the hood and some different lettering down the side. And that is it. It is basically the exact same toy, not even repainted technically. They really just kind of changed tampographies, and that's basically it. So remember, this list has nothing to do with the quality of the toy. This has everything to do with the quality of the repainting, and the repaint here was complete trash. So this is where we start seeing the divide between having these really cool ideas, but also having the need to just put something out as easy and cheap as possible, meaning a lot of this stuff is going to start ending up in the bottom two tiers. Brace yourselves. So let's move into Ramjet. I'm not a fan of this design in general. I think as Decepticon designs go, this is way too bright. As far as like a Seeker goes, bright blue, bright white, some hits of red and yellow. This strikes me as like what an Autobot Seeker would be colored. It really doesn't have any kind of like Decepticon menace to the color scheme. I would call it a very heroic looking character outside of like the dark face that they painted on it that makes it look a little bit more menacing. That's about all you have going for it, and even that does not really make it a bad guy figure. I would still argue this very much could have been an Autobot. It doesn't look bad, but it just looks off. You know, it just doesn't look like what it's supposed to be. Just way too bright, way too vibrant. I'm not a fan of their approach on that one. This is Ransack. Total name dump of a figure. And once again, Ransack joins our friends in the flea market. Why? Because this is Armada Hoist with one change. Yes, they swapped the Autobot and Decepticon symbol. I don't count that as part of the deco because it's just a tampograph. What they changed is the white plastic was now purple. And everything else is the same. It's the same orange. It's the same brown. The head is exactly the same. This, like, if you found this as a junker and you needed to repair your Armada Hoist, pop the head off, pop this one on. It's the exact same head. It's the exact same deco beyond that purple. Very lazy. See, like, this is what bugs me. This is what bugs me. It's like, you have things as incredible as that Nemesis Prime, like, which is the first US release of Big Convoy, by the way. And then you have, like, the Overbite, which is, again, the first release of a Japanese Beast Wars character in the US, and they did nothing with it. No creativity whatsoever. You know, same with, like, okay, like Cheetor. Okay, that Cheetor is really, really cool, and it does a really, really good job of, like, reinventing that design. And then you get to Ransack here, who is literally just one color change from its original deco. So stupid. Okay, we are moving on, and this is Ratchet. It's supposed to be Ratchet. It's a red and black repaint of X-Brawn. So here's the trick with this one. I should be putting this one higher up the list because the silver, the black, the red, that's a hard color scheme to mess up, and that all works. But I have to dock it points. While I do not count Autobot Decepticon tampograph changes as far as like redecos go, what I will count the tampagraphs everywhere else, and this thing is infamous because of the weird tampagraphing they did to the top of it. They wanted it to look like a rescue van, so what did they do? They tampographed tools and ladders and things onto the top of X-Brawn's vehicle mode. Three-dimensional detail that has been painted on. And it looks really, really cheap and really, really lazy. The deco works. The deco looks good. Like, and it's not doing like the Inferno thing, which is just copying a G1 color scheme. This is a version of Ratchet going for its own thing, and I would put it higher because of that, but I'm knocking it back down because the tampagraphs for this thing are awful and infamous. So that's how the balance works out there, unfortunately. Moving on to one of the Wave 1s, and this is Reptilion. Now, I really should go back and get this figure. I think like the dark gray and the multi-tone green colors work way better for that Reptilian beast mode. You know, and just giving him that like lizard vibe. You know, I think it works way better than its original design. This one gets up pretty high. I think that's a very large improvement over, what was it, like the red, orange, and blue that the original toy was featuring. Yeah, this is way better. This is a way better approach. Also, here's Repugnus. And Repugnus, I think, is an incredibly clever redeco. How do you reuse a figure like Buzz Claw? How do you reuse Buzz Claw? It's a fusor of a mantis and a lizard. Well, what you do is you find this giant cockroach monster from G1 and you color it like him. I don't think the colors work. Okay, and to be honest, like the colors I don't think work great on the mold, except in the beast mode. In the beast mode they work. In the robot mode, I'm iffy on it. It's a little bit forced in there. But I do think it's an incredibly clever reuse. So I will give it points for that. But again, that kind of falls into like it's a G1 homage, so it's kind of hitting the middle of like it's clever, but it's not entirely, you know, it's weird. This is a G1. All the other G1 homages are it looks good, but it's not very clever. This one is. It's very clever, but it doesn't look that great. So it's weird to balance this sometimes, but there you go. Ruination. Now, for those wondering, I did double check. The gray Ruination that everybody remembers is actually part of the RID toy line. This is the Tiger Stripe is definitively Universe 1.0. And for that matter, RID is also the toy line that released all of the other repaints of the build team under. So I double checked that too. This is the only real repaint combiner exclusive we get to talk about. And you know what? I think the way the tiger striping is done is just like lines all the way across the toys. Don't look great. But I do think this looks cooler than the original Ruination repaint. The urban camo that's all gray, and like that one just looks like the monochrome doesn't work for me. This also harkens to the original Valdigus release. So that also appeals to me as well. I'm actually going to put it like bottom of the premium price point. I actually really like how it looks. Like I said, if it had been done in more traditional camo and not just like the striping all over it, I probably would have listed it all the way to premium price. I just think the striping looks a little bit weird. But overall color tones, I really, really like it. And we have another lazy one. This one is weird in how lazy it is. So it's super sideburn, but all of the paint that made up the top of the vehicle mode has now been redone with this gray, like dark gray mesh pattern. And that's a huge amount to tampograph in order to make that pattern work. And that's kind of like the commitment to how lazy to this very lazy repaint, because it literally is just, we'll run the exact same toy, but instead of running those clear parts through this paint system, we're going to run it through this paint system instead and create something new. It doesn't really. It just makes a really, really weird looking Dodge Viper. I'm gonna bargain bin him too. It's not quite as egregious as the Prowl, because it does do a lot more to visually change the vehicle mode, but it's still only a vehicle mode change, and it's just as nonsensical. But I'm going to put it just 1 point higher. Oh, you again. For those who remember, this was I think this was Plastic Addict episode 2. Now, these days, I kind of regret doing Plastic Addict episodes on toys, specifically because the color scheme and the repaint was so bad. The toy itself really didn't deserve it. The toy itself is fine. You know, these days, I realize that's being too easy. I need to be a little bit more discerning with what makes a toy genuinely bad. In this case, I'm still going to mark him very low on the list because, again, this one is kind of universe style and spirit. It's got that splash of Energon the early figures had. As I just realized who's missing from this list, we will amend that here at the end. Wow, how did my scanning miss that? Never mind me. We'll cover it here in a bit. But for the most part, let's focus on this now. Yeah, it's a fine toy. It's just a very ugly color scheme. The purple does not work on that mold whatsoever. It does, you know, and that's just me. That's my taste, but I think it's an ill fit. I think it like would have worked for like a Decepticon repaint, not for keeping him a Maximal / Autobot. Skydive is interesting. So on its surface, they are going for a Dinobot homage because it's grays, it's reds, it's yellows. But the way it works because it is not your atypical Dinobot design, it's a Quetzalcoatlus, which is a much cooler dinosaur than people give it credit for. But in this case, it really this works the color scheme a little bit differently than your standard Dinobot. And I do think it works it really, really well. Really well. I'm going to put him premium price. I love the look of that toy. And then we just start hitting peak again. So the Skywarp we talked about before, I think that Skywarp works exceptionally well on the Beast Machines mold. Very, very good figure. Very, very good color scheme on said figure. As a Cybertronian Sideswipe, or like a super futurist, or a Skywarp, as a super futuristic Skywarp, I think it looks really, really cool. Really, really like that. Now, here's another interesting one. So this will end up like very bottom of the bargain bin, because I don't think the colors necessarily look bad on it, but this is still also an exceptionally lazy repaint, because it is just the orange and blue plastics of Smokescreen reversed. Far as I can tell, everything else seems to be identical on it again from the original release, which just screams of like very quick rushed color, paint job. Like, we weren't really putting any R&D into this. This line is exclusively to make us as much money as possible. So we're not even going to think about the deco. We're just going to switch plastic machines and just call it a day. So yeah, Smokescreen, don't go too far. Let's talk Snarl. Now, gold plastic issues aside, Snarl is really, really good. The black and the gold work. The yellow and red hits work. And again, if we're talking about repaint quality, this goes very far away from the original release, which feels very Lion-O from Thundercats. That gets you very high up on the list. I think that's a holy grail piece. I think that's a beautiful deco on that toy. I think it hits all the marks that Universe was going for. It's a cool deco, still has the Energon hits to it, and does so much different from the original toy. That's what is the stark contrast here for me, is like the toys that want to do something completely different from the original release versus the toys that barely want to do anything different. And the fact they mix so many of them together is so weird to me. Another toy we've talked about on Plastic Attic, but this time I think this one deserved it. The Snowcats deco is absolutely horrible. It looks like it's supposed to be like Halloween inspired. In person, you realize only the visor and his hands have been painted. Everything else is bare plastic, which makes him look like a prototype, and not in any fun, interesting way. More like a, how did this roll off the machine unfinished kind of way. Even his Decepticon symbols are not painted. It's not good in the least. And I think this mold was barely getting by in the first place. It definitely is a massive change up from the original. Don't get me wrong there. But it's not necessarily a good change up. Like, maybe I'd be generous and put him like top of the flea market. It is very different from the original, but that's the only credit I can give him. It is not a good looking change from the original. Yeah, no. I still hate that thing. Wasted, lost opportunity. There's so many cooler things you could have done with that mold, and they just left them. Never to be done. Strika is weird. I don't know where her color scheme comes from. Like, I don't know where the inspiration lies. It's just kind of there, Like, there's mustard yellow and blue and whatever, this this other, this like off, like, what do you even call that? Like this, like, it's like weird, like this like weird, like, I was almost going to call it chocolate brown, but it's too bright for that. I don't know, it's burgundy or whatever this is. I'm not, and then like the green coming through, like the dark military green, like I don't know what this color scheme's going for. I don't know what it was aiming for. Like, it just feels disjointed. And it's a shame, kind of, because I'd really like to put more effort. I'd really like to like that color scheme, because I'm not big on Strika's original paint job. And it would have been a great opportunity to just make a show accurate one, a cartoon accurate Strika. Didn't do that. So we go from Strika to Striker. And Striker does look really good. It's a more natural dinosaur color. Well, supposedly, since we never quite know what color dinosaurs really were, It's got the Energon hit that looks good. It's got this nice deco combination with a lot going on. Multiple shades of green. The light brown is in there. I like the head crest. It gives it more of a, almost like an Aztec look to him, which gives him an interesting dynamic. I do like him a lot. I do like him a lot. I think I'm going to put him there with the other dino. There were a bunch of dinosaurs in Beast Machines. I know they're completely on Cybertron at the time. We're not supposed to think about it. All right. We have Sunstorm using the thrust mold, which was always a weird choice. Okay. I do like it overall. I do think having so much white in the middle throws off the color scheme. I think it's just breaking the orange and yellow too much to the point where it's like in the way. I feel like if like some more of it had been painted over, bring some of that yellow into the torso, that would have been way better. Overall, I think this is kind of like middle of the road. Somewhere like that. Yeah, kind of middle of the road. Nothing like terribly exciting. All right, Swerve. This one is, again, like, on one hand, I think it's a wasted opportunity because it really is just a stock standard color scheme for a Transformer. It's basically sideswipe colors on Blur. And Blur is a really cool looking vehicle with an interesting looking robot, and the idea behind the fact that you can like completely change his color scheme from vehicle to robot mode because of the way he transforms. You could take advantage of that to create something really cool. Here, it's all unified, which also has benefits to it, but I also feel like it's very by-the-numbers Autobot. I'm not a fan of the base toy. I think this deco is underwhelming, but not terrible looking. Disappointing. Let's put it that way. It's disappointing. I think that's a good way to phrase it. Tread Shot, and here is why these guys have to go down bottom tier. Tread Shot has some new, there's some new tampographics to him, but otherwise, it's just Sideswipe again. It's the same black on the crest. It's the same visor colors, same little yellow patch here, same gray, same yellow. They just swapped the blue for burgundy. You know, it's not even like a far departure from the original color, you know? Like you go from like oils, you go from the normal original blue to the purple on Oil Slick, and then Tread Shot's got this burgundy, like wine red color scheme to it, and it's like following a rainbow pattern. So we're not even like fully departed from the original color. It's a weird choice. It's a very weird choice. And just, again, a letdown. Like, it's just uninspired. It just isn't doing anything interesting. It's just, let's swap out one plastic color and call it a new release. And I hate that. It's so disappointing. Let's move on before I get any angrier. It's Triceraton. And Triceraton is, again, kind of a cool looking Dinobot. Not gonna lie, I'm just gonna put him straight up with the other ones. I think the other two look a little bit better, but I do like his deco as well. I think he does very, very well. We move on to Ultra Magnus. And I'm sorry, Magnus got to go all the way to the bottom. Again, for just lack of inspiration. They made his dark blue parts darker blue. They made his gray parts darker gray. And that's it. Again, this is a repaint of, they did nothing with it. They have no potential with no, they just release it, even though it had a million ways you could have potential to it. So you release this at Sam's Club alongside yellow Optimus Prime. So you see this drastically different colored Optimus Prime, and beside him is an Ultra Magnus who looks almost like nearly identical to the same one you bought the year before. And you're just kind of staring at the two going like, why? Like, where? How? Why does this exist? Why did you do so much on one and next to nothing on the other? Well, you know what you could have done? Like here, just like one example. I have a word, I have a phrase, a name. I have a name in my head that says Rodimus Maximus. You do him as like an evolution of, like, if the Matrix kept evolving Rodimus to the point where he's just this big hulk of a character now. Remember, Magnus has those big fins in the back. But you do him in these hot color schemes. This like the darker reds and the oranges of Hot Shot or Hot Rod, and you kind of like play into the idea of like that Winnebago turning into a car carrier instead. You play with that idea, and you know what you do? You create an Omega Prime that's these really hot, vibrant colors. So he has this kind of like fire deco to him, almost like a Fire Guts Omega Prime. This is something I came up with when I was in the bathroom before I sat down to record this video. This was not a hard choice. This was not a hard decision, Hasbro. Oh my god, this would have been so much cooler. We are denied. Oh, low, down low. And by contrast, the Armada Ultra Magnus, I'm putting all the way to the top. So aside from the fact that I really like the white Ultra Magnus deco, I always have, this one also changes it up just enough to make it interesting. Typically, white Magnuses tend to be kind of boring, but the way they trim the blue on this one looks way cooler than like your standard just white repaint Optimus. The hits of red sell me on this one. The hits of red help me a lot. I love how this mold looks in these colors. It saddens me. This is a color scheme the brand new one is never going to get. Deserves to get it. I loved these colors. Wish we'd get another one. And last for now is Wind Shear. Wind Shear is okay. He is decidedly okay. It's another Cyberjet. It is not nearly as interesting as Air Raid was. It is just kind of there. The purple camo and the red do work. You know, that kind of pulls the whole thing together. The beige is just a little bit plain. That's all. I'm kind of indifferent on him, so I'll just kind of put him right there in the middle of retail. And that would do it, except for something I realized halfway through is that my my attempts to collect all the images have completely failed because where are the larger figures? Okay, give me a minute. You know, when I put this together, I felt like it was a little bit light because I was going over an entire toy line. But that is because, for whatever reason, my cursory glance of TF Wiki completely missed the Ultra class. So we're going to fix that, and I apologize for how long this video was. I would have been far quicker with my critiques if I realized I had this many to do. Okay, so round 2, let's cover the larger figures, and we're going to start with Depth Charge, and Depth Charge is an easy holy grail. That is an absolutely gorgeous toy. The airbrushing on it is amazing. Absolutely in there for like one of the best looking beast modes of all time. Absolutely peak. Absolutely love that. King Atlas is a weird one. So it's a Atlas homage in Universe 1.0 using the mold from Skyquake from Euro G1. And it somehow works. Like, this is a very menacing looking mold. It's designed specifically to be a very evil Decepticon. But it looks really good. It looks really, really good. And again, very big departure from its original. I like it a lot. We put it very high up on the list as a result. Not quite premium. Not quite premium because there's a little bit of, like, is kind of forced to make this homage work. But I like it well enough. I like it well enough. Magna Stampede. So now we have the first official release of this mold at retail after Battle Unicorn didn't quite make it. I do think I like this one. I like this one quite a bit. So you do have this kind of like more regal look with this bright white and gold plastic that it has going on. I like the little bit of zebra striping it has in beast mode. Gives it just a little bit of different character there. Nothing like tremendously like out of this world or anything, but enough to warrant a decently high spot. As I realize my my window here is no longer encapsulating what is going on the screen. Let's see if I can stretch that out a little bit for you. Tickets are on sale to Epic Universe, by the way. For those planning to come to Florida anytime soon. Spoiler alert, don't. This state ain't worth it right now. Okay, let's move on. Obsidian. You know what I liked about Universe Obsidian is that it looked way more like a character named Obsidian than the last two releases, the one that was green and the one that was cow patterned. Hello? But this Obsidian looks great. I think it's a huge upgrade from its first two releases. Looks very, very nice. Again, nothing crazy deco-wise. It just looks really, really good. So it goes up into the premium range. Optimus Primal's universe look, I was never really that into. It just, I don't know. Like, it wasn't like, okay, fine, brown gorilla, but it wasn't really brown, was it? There's like a reddish tint to it, too. I'm not crazy about the other colors, like the bright yellow on the weapons. Like, there's something about how it looks in this release that just kind of feels a little knockoff. Like, it feels like it doesn't feel like they're his weapons or something. It feels like they're reproduction weapons. Yeah, like, I don't know. And then, like, super dark green is mixed in there, too. Like, why? Why? No, I'll be honest with you. I've never been a fan of that color scheme. On the other hand, once again, we've hit peak. Razor Claw is perfect. Like, if you can't do a Megatron in a Transformers toy line, you just got to take the most menacing looking mold you have and just make it in evil colors. And for a Transformer toy line that immediately says black, purple, silver, it's an impossible color scheme to get wrong. Looks absolutely fantastic on that toy. There is a reason why of all Universe 1.0 repaints that we have covered on this list, the only one that you're actually going to find in any modern toy line right now is that Razor Claw. It's available at your local Target right now, possibly. Point being, this one impacted a lot of people. Like, I didn't really care about Tigerhawk much. Oh, I really liked Razor Claw, though. Razor Claw, I begged my parents for. Razor Claw, I needed to get. And then, yeah, the fact that it was, like, more widespread release than Tigerhawk was, because of, like, end of Beast Wars stuff, yeah, it just meant a lot more people got a hold of that one. Rightfully so. Okay. Soundwave. I hate this deco. I really, really do not like this Soundwave deco. This thing looks kind of atrocious to me. This is where I start realizing that this toy line has this weird obsession with blue and yellow mixes. But I do not think this works. The blue is way too bright for like this very heavy military vehicle mode. The bright yellow and the maroon and the blue, I don't think work together well on this mold. I think this kind of looks garbage. This is not even just in like a lazy repaint like a lot of these in the flea market. I just genuinely think it looks bad. You know, and, like there's just too much color clash going on, not enough to hold it together. Just weird choices. And his partner Space Case. This is, I think, where I realized that the Cyber Jets probably had a lot of gang molding going on because they all have this like maroon plastic involved. He's okay. I don't think he works as well as his brethren in this toy line. You know, I popped one to premium immediately. This one, I'm just kind of iffy on. The gray's okay, but like it's not as standout. Like, and the off color of purple, it's not popping from the gray as much as I would like it to. A brighter shade of purple would have been better. Maybe a lighter shade of gray would have been better. It's not quite hitting me. So it's going to go middle to low retail release, somewhere around there. All right, Stockade. Yeah, this toy line also had something for mustard yellow. or whatever you want to call that darker yellow shade. Saffron, do we want to call it saffron? Marigold, what do we want to call it? Either way, this dark yellow is just permeating this toy line. I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks generally okay. I feel like that mold has a lot more potential to it than this allows. Now, if they had connected it to the Striker, and like somehow like the whole point of this was to like match the Striker in color scheme and kind of unify the whole look of the Viacons in this line, that would have been a cool take. That would have been a cool approach, but it's not quite there. It's not quite there. I think it looks better than the Striker. I think it looks okay-ish. So like right dab in the middle. I think there we go. It might have also been trying to connect to the Tankor in this line, who is also rocking the mustard yellow, but the green is throwing me here. Yellow and green in the color scheme is a little bit hard to work together. You gotta really carefully balance the color tones to make that work. And I don't think he does that great of a job. I think his original toy did look a lot better. Again, I think that's somewhere middle of the road. I'll just put the two Tankor repaints together. Why not? This is where my tier list is going a little bit wonky on me again, but it's okay. We are almost done. We have one more to go. And that, if I can pull it up and actually see it, that's Whirl. And I think Whirl is actually really cool. So the dark blue works on the toy. The dark blue and the off-white, the light gray, that works really, really well. I like the little touches of the deco, like the burn around the engines. That's a cool little touch. Here, the yellow actually does work with the darker blue. It has a nice pop to it. I like the light blue camo that's going on. Like it's like almost like cloud camouflage. I think that works pretty well. I like this version of the toy. We'll pop him into the premium price. Because we had so many toys, I didn't really pay attention to like what was better than others in these listings. We just kind of keep it to my general thought process here. But yeah, that's generally where I am at with the Universe 1.0 line. Now, like I said, look how long this video already is. This is why I left off the Minicons and the Spy Changers, because we couldn't get through all of that and stay sane. I've already lost my mind doing this. But there you go. That's basically where I put those. That's all my preference, though. You are free to disagree with me in the comment section below. Thank you for going through a very, very long video with me today. I do always appreciate it. And as always, I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.